everyone. Welcome to our YouTube channel Digitalized Learning. Myself Megha. Today I'll be taking the chapter of class 10 of chemistry, that is metals and non-metals. So let's begin with the video. So now the topics that are going to be covered in this video will be about the physical properties of metals and non-metals. We'll be having a look over the various physical properties of metals and non-metals. We'll compare both the properties of both metals and non-metals. And then we'll be also covering the chemical properties of metals in it. There are about 4 chemical properties we are going to talk about. The first one is what happens when the metal is burnt in air. Second one would be what happens when metals react with water. Third one would be what happens when metals react with acids. And the fourth one would be how do metals react with solutions of other metal salts. Now this is the reactions. Now we'll also be looking on to various reactions that are involved in this chapter. Before that, let us move on to the first slide, wherein we'll be studying about the physical properties of metals and non-metals. Now first of all, how are the elements classified as metals and non-metals? So the answer would be they are classified on the basis of certain properties. Now these properties can be physical properties and can be chemical properties. Now when we begin with the chapter, we'll be studying about various physical properties on the basis of which the elements are divided into metals and non-metals. And now the question arises that why was there a need to study the chemical properties when we can classify the elements on the basis of the physical properties as well? Now the reason being that there were various exceptions which were seen, which we'll be looking on to further as we move on further with the video. Now let's study about the physical properties. So now we'll be first studying about the physical properties of the metals, and then we'll be studying about the physical properties of non-metals. And always it would be very easy to keep in mind all the points of differences in physical properties in metals and non-metals when we make a chart, when we compare the properties, because they are exactly opposite to each other. So comparing and studying them would make it much easier to remember it. Okay, so now let us start with the properties of metals. Now the first and the obvious property of metal is it's hard. Okay, the first property is it being hard. The second one is the pure state of metal. Whenever a metal which is in the pure state, it has a shiny surface, and that property of metal is known as metallic luster. So it means it has a shiny surface onto it. Now there are two major important properties of metals. The first one is malleability, the second one is ductility. Now a metal can be beaten into sheets, and this property is called as malleability. And the ability of the metal to be drawn into wires, this property of metal is called as ductility. Now gold can be a best example of a ductile metal. Okay, and what's the importance of malleability and ductility as a property of metal? It is that it helps us to give different shapes to the metals as in required, like whatever shape we want to give, we can give because of these properties. Now let us move ahead with the properties, physical properties of metals. The next property, physical property, is high melting point and boiling point. Metals will have a very high melting and boiling point. Then metals also are a good conductor of heat. Silver and copper are the best conductors of heat, and comparatively poor conductors of heat are lead and mercury. Then metals are also good conductors of electricity. Okay, now next important property of metal is it has it is sonorous. Okay, now what do you mean by sonorous? Now whenever the metal element or any metal article is struck onto the surface, any hard surface, it makes a sound, and that property is called as sonorous. Okay, hence we say that metals are sonorous as it makes a sound when it is struck onto any hard surface. Now completely opposite to it are the properties of non-metals. Now let us first discuss some of the examples of non-metals. Some of the examples are carbon, sulfur, iodine, oxygen, hydrogen, etc. So these are the examples of non-metals. Now the metals, the non-metals are either solid or gaseous in form. Okay, they are generally found either in the solid form or in the gaseous form. But again, there's an exception to it. The bromine, which is a non-metal, but still it is found in the liquid state. So here are coming up few exceptions which we had discussed earlier. So we'll be looking onto it further also. So here bromine is an exception among the non-metal, because non-metals are generally found in the solid and the gaseous state, but bromine, being a non-metal, is found in a liquid state. Okay. And then talking about the density, the metals are usually high in density and the non-metals are low in density. Non-metals also do not have a property of malleability and ductility, and non-metals are poor conductors of heat and electricity, but again there's an exception here, that is graphite. Okay, they do not have luster. Again, non-metals do not have luster usually, but again there's an exception here, that is iodine. Then non-metals have a low melting and boiling point, again with an exception here being diamond and graphite. And the non-metals also do not give any kind of sonorous effect, so there's no the non-metals are not sonorous. Okay. Now, hence, we can conclude that the elements cannot be grouped as metals and non-metals on the basis of only the physical properties. We require some other properties as well, like the physical properties, on the basis of which they can be classified into the metals and non-metals. Now, as we said, we'll be talking about few exceptions. We'll be discussing the exceptions that occur. So, starting with the first exception. Now, all metals exists in generally as solid state, as we have discussed, at room temperature, but mercury is a metal which does not exist in solid state at room temperature. This was the first exception. Now, second exception is metals usually have a high melting and boiling point, but gallium and cesium have low melting points. So, we are discussing the exceptions one by one. So we are done with two exceptions. Now the third one is iodine, as we discussed, is an example of a non-metal, but it is lustrous, which is a property of metal. So here again there's an exception that is aroused. Now next is carbon, is again a non-metal, and it has different forms, and these different forms are called as allotropes. Okay. Now one of the allotrope of carbon, that is diamond, is the hardest natural substance and has a very high melting and boiling point, and graphite is a good conductor of electricity. Then the fifth exception is alkali metals like lithium, sodium, potassium. They are so soft that they can be cut with a knife, and they have very low densities and low melting points. Okay. Now hence, elements can be more clearly classified as metals and non-metals on the basis of their chemical properties. So, because of so many exceptions that are considered when we classify the elements into metals and non-metals, we have to have a further proper classification, and for this classification chemical properties will help to classify elements properly on the basis of metals and non-metals. Now so we are done with the physical properties of metals and non-metals. Let us move ahead to the further slide, wherein we have the chemical properties of metals that are listed. Now let us start with the first chemical property, that is what will actually happen when metals are burnt in air. Okay, so these are the reactions which we have to look on to about, like, there are all the chemical properties as certain reactions, and those reactions are listed here. So let us see for the first chemical property, that is what happens when the metals are burnt in air. Now when the metals will be burnt in air, where the metal will combine with the oxygen which is present in the air, and it will form metal oxides. As we can see in the reaction, metal plus oxygen gives rise to metal oxide. Again, let us consider an example of copper being heated in air. 2Cu plus O2 gives 2CuO. That is, copper plus oxygen on reaction gives rise to copper oxides. Okay. Now, when we are talking about metal oxides, there's a special term, amphoteric oxides, that we need to discuss on to. Okay. Now, what is an amphoteric oxide? Now, metal oxides are generally basic in nature. Okay. But there are few metals like aluminium oxide, zinc oxide, that shows both acidic as well as basic behavior. And such metal oxides which reacts with both acids as well as bases to produce salts and water are known as amphoteric oxides. Okay. Now the aluminium oxide reacts in the following manner with acids and bases. Here's an example at the top which is given about how aluminium oxide reacts with both acids and bases and hence known as an amphoteric oxide. Now the first example of aluminium oxide reacting with a acid, Al2O3 plus 6HCl giving 2AlCl3 plus 3H2O. And below that is an example of aluminium oxide reacting with a base. So it is Al2O3 plus 2NaOH giving 2NaAlO2. So these are the examples wherein we are giving example of an amphoteric oxide reacting with both acids and bases. Now, the most metal oxides are insoluble in water, but some also dissolve in water and gives rise to alkalis. Okay. Now, they give rise to alkalis. Now sodium oxide and potassium oxide dissolves in water to produce alkalis as follows. Now we'll be looking on to example how the sodium oxide and potassium oxide, that is the metal oxide, that is dissolved in water and is producing alkalis. Here's an example. Now the first example is of sodium oxide dissolving in water to produce NaOH as the alkali. So it is Na2O plus H2O giving rise to 2NaOH. And then the next one is the potassium oxide dissolving in water. It is K2O plus water giving 2KOH. Okay. So this is what are the reactions that are involved. Now the reactions, the metals, all metals do not react with the oxygen at the same rate. They have different reactivities towards the oxygen. Now metals like sodium, potassium, they react so vigorously with the oxygen present in the air that they catch fire when it is kept in open, and hence in order to protect them and to prevent any kind of accidental fires, it is always suggested that the metals like sodium and potassium should be kept immersed in the kerosene oil so that the accidental fire can be prevented. Now and also, now examples like at ordinary temperature, there are the metals which are there like magnesium, aluminium, zinc, lead, etc. At an ordinary temperature, their surface is covered with a very thin layer of metal oxide. Okay. Now what this metal oxide does is it prevents the further oxidation of the metal due to the reaction with the oxygen, because it acts as a barrier between them by forming a thin layer over the metal surface. So that it helps in the protection or preservation of that metal element. Now iron does not burn on heating, but iron fillings burn vigorously when sprinkled on the flame. So this is also an example. And there are metals like silver and gold which will not react with oxygen even at high temperature. So they do not react with oxygen even at a very high temperature. Now let us move on to the next property which is mentioned here, the second property, chemical property of a metal, that is what happens when metals react with water. Now as we saw in the earlier discussions when we were discussing about the metals being burnt in air, we had seen that the metal oxides are soluble in water, which are soluble in water, they produce alkalis. Okay, that is, they further produce the metal oxides that are soluble in water, they dissolve and further form metal hydroxides. But all metals will not react with water. There are also again few will react with water, few will not react with water. Okay, now metals like potassium and sodium, they vigorously react with cold water. Okay, now in case of sodium and potassium, the reaction is so violent and exothermic, that is there is so much of evolution of heat that the H2 immediately catches fire, which is released as a product. Okay, so the reaction is so violent and it's so exothermic, that is there is so much amount of heat released that the released hydrogen immediately catches fire. Now the reaction of calcium with hydrogen the reaction of calcium with water is less violent. Okay, it's not that vigorous. Now the heat evolved is not sufficient for the hydrogen to catch fire, and also unlike the reaction of sodium and potassium with water, the reaction of calcium with water is less violent. Also, the heat is not sufficient for the released hydrogen to catch fire. Now the calcium plus water, the reaction, here we can see the reaction has been mentioned, wherein the calcium reacts with water to give CaOH twice plus H2, and here the hydrogen will go and stick on to the surface and the calcium will start floating. Now the overview, here we can see where into the reactions when metals react with water, we have written metal plus water gives metal oxide plus hydrogen, and then when this metal oxide further dissolves in water, it gives rise to metal hydroxide. Okay, so we have discussed the examples. Now few metals react with cold water and few reacts with hot water. Okay, there are cases wherein few of the metals will react with hot water, whereas few of the metals will react with cold water, and there are also cases wherein the metals reacts neither with hot water nor with cold water, but they react with the steam. Okay, instead they react with steam and produces metal oxide and hydrogen. So these are the three cases wherein either a metal will react with hot water, either a metal will react with cold water, or it will react with steam. Okay, now example of metal reacting with steam, okay, is 2Al plus 3H2O in the gaseous form will give rise to Al2O3 plus 3H2. The second example is 3Fe plus 4H2O in the gaseous form, giving rise to Fe3O4 plus 4H2. And we have to make a note that metals such as lead, copper, silver and gold do not react with water at all. So these are the metals like lead, copper, silver and gold. They are not going to react with water at all. Now the next reaction or the next chemical property that we are going to study about is the third chemical property of metal, that is what happens when the metals react with acids. Now again we'll be moving to the reaction page because the reactions have been mentioned over there. Now the first reaction we can see, which is written over here, is metal plus dilute acid giving rise to salt plus hydrogen. So this is what happens when a metal reacts with acid. It gives rise to salt and hydrogen. H2 gas is not evolved when a metal reacts with nitric acid. So this can come as a give reason question about why hydrogen gas is not evolved when metal reacts with nitric acid. The reason being that the nitric acid is a strong oxidizing agent, and as a result of it, what it will do is the nitric acid will oxidize the hydrogen that is produced and it will convert it into water, and the nitric acid will itself get reduced to any of the nitrogen oxides. It can be N2O or NO or NO2. Okay, so this is an example wherein the this is a give reason question, like about why the H2 gas is not evolved when the metal reacts with nitric acid, because nitric acid is a strong oxidizing agent and it will lead to the oxidization of hydrogen into water and itself will get reduced into nitrogen oxides. Okay, now let us come on to the last chemical property of a metal, that is how do metals react with solution of other metal salts. Now what happens is that now we'll be seeing about both the cases here, when a metal will react with salt solution and when a non-metal will react with a salt solution. Here simply what happens is that whether it is a metal reacting with the salt solution or a non-metal reacting with salt solution, the more reactive metal or non-metal will displace the less reactive metal or non-metal from its salt solution. So let us look on to the first case. When metals react with salt solution, more reactive metal will displace a less reactive metal from its salt solution. Example is CuSO4 plus Zn giving rise to ZnSO4 plus Cu. Okay, then the second case is when non-metal react with salt solution, more reactive non-metal will displace a less reactive non-metal from its salt solution. The example is 2NaBr plus Cl2 giving rise to 2NaCl plus Br2. So here we are done with discussing all the chemical properties of the metals. There were 4 chemical properties of metals that we have discussed. So this is it for the video. Thank you.